My parents demanded I pay rent or move out at 18, while my older siblings lived for free. Now they're shocked that I chose to leave. Instead, growing up, I always believed family meant love, support, and fairness. I had seen my older siblings, Jake and Emily, live comfortably under my parents' roof well into their 20s, rent-free, bill-free, and without a single worry about where their next meal would come from. So naturally, when I turned 18, I assumed I'd have the same support, but life had a cruel way of showing me otherwise. One evening, as I was finishing dinner, my parents sat me down at the kitchen table. The air was heavy, like they were preparing to drop some serious news on me. My dad cleared his throat and crossed his arms. "You're 18 now, son. It's time for you to start contributing." I blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" My mom sighed as if I was supposed to understand already. "You either start paying rent, or you need to move out. It's only fair." Fair? That word stung like a slap across my face. I looked toward my siblings, who were sitting across from me, their plates still full. Jake was 26 and still lived at home while working part-time, yet he never paid a dime. Emily, 24, had recently graduated and was still figuring out her career. Rent wasn't even a conversation for them. "Wait," I said, forcing a laugh. "You're joking, right?" But the serious look on my dad's face told me otherwise. "I don't get it," I continued, my voice breaking. "Jake and Emily never had to pay rent. Why am I the only one who has to?" "That's different," Mom said quickly. "Jake is still finding stable work and Emily is our only daughter. You're a man now. You should be able to take care of yourself." The weight of their words sank into me like an anchor dragging me to the bottom of a deep, dark ocean. "So what?" I scoffed. "I'm just supposed to pay to live in my own home while they get a free pass?" My dad exhaled sharply. "Life isn't fair, kid. You need to learn responsibility. The rent will be $500 a month, or you need to find another place to live." I felt my stomach twist. It wasn't just about the money. It was the sheer injustice of it. I had worked part-time through high school, saving as much as I could to prepare for college. But I never imagined I'd have to choose between paying to stay in my own childhood home or being forced out. I looked at my mom, searching her face for any softness, any hint of regret, but there was nothing. That's when I made my decision. "Okay," I said, standing up. "I'll move out." They both blinked at me as if they hadn't expected me to take it so seriously. "Wait, what?" Mom asked, her voice laced with shock. "You said I have to pay rent or leave," I said, gripping the chair in front of me. "I'm choosing to leave." Jake and Emily exchanged glances, but neither of them spoke up for me. Dad let out a scoff. "And where exactly do you think you're going to go?" "I'll figure it out," I shot back, my hands clenched into fists. I spent the next week packing everything I owned. I had a small savings account, definitely not enough for a luxury apartment, but enough to get me by for a little while. I reached out to a coworker from my part-time job who had a spare room for rent, and just like that, I had my exit plan. The night before I left, my parents barely acknowledged me. There were no teary goodbyes, no words of encouragement, just silence. It was as if I had already ceased to exist in their world. The moment I walked out that door with my suitcase, I knew I wasn't just leaving a house. I was leaving behind the illusion that I had a family who truly cared about me. The first few months were tough. Rent, bills, groceries. I had to learn everything on my own. I worked double shifts and took on extra hours just to make ends meet, but despite the struggles, I felt something I had never felt before: freedom. I wasn't constantly walking on eggshells, waiting for another unfair rule to be thrown at me. I was in control of my own life, and surprisingly, I thrived. I enrolled in college, worked my way up to a better-paying job, and eventually moved into my own apartment. Every small milestone felt like a victory, a reminder that I was capable of standing on my own 2 feet, even when my own parents didn't believe in me. Then, out of the blue, a year after I had moved out, I got a call from my mom. She sounded hesitant, as if she wasn't sure how to talk to me anymore. "So, when are you coming to visit?" she asked. I bit back a bitter laugh. "Visit?" she sighed. "We miss you." "Do you?" I wanted to ask, but instead, I stayed quiet. A few weeks later, I decided to go back, if only to see if anything had changed. When I arrived, everything felt the same. Jake and Emily were still there, still living rent-free, still being coddled. And yet my parents had the audacity to look surprised when I didn't stay long. "We thought you'd be grateful," Dad said as I stood near the front door. "We raised you." I turned to him, my voice steady but filled with years of unspoken pain. "You raised me until I became inconvenient. Then you made it clear I wasn't welcome unless I was paying for it." My mother's eyes filled with tears, but it was too late for that now. I walked away, not because I was angry, but because I had finally found peace outside of their house. And I wasn't willing to give that up just to make them feel better about the choice they had made.